Wow, yeah. And before we jump into questions, there were a couple of anecdotes about JDL from the chat.
JLD.
JLD, my apologies, that I wanted to cover. The first was from Jupiter Ninja, who said, let me see if I can. Oh, it's gone. Hello. Here it is. Jupiter Ninja said, I saw JLD in a Denny's parking lot, and her shoes were hoof cozies. So that is interesting. And then Fever Woman says, I took a Polaroid of JLD at a party in '98, and it printed out a Hellfire Red. And so that is interesting.
It's
and
a
then
very specific Pantone
You gotta
color.
have a very low exposure when taking photos of JLD because it will there will be red flares all up in it. I've also done a lot of color correcting to my photos, so I've gotten it back to like what the natural color would look like. But if I showed you the negatives, like it would just be, like a red layer over the entire thing.
Wow.
And so that is explaining the experience of you, Fever Woman. And then Sparky Sparkles is asking or saying, I shook JLD's hand once and I had a pentagram carved into my palm.
After the
Well,
handshake.
it's actually not clear. It just says, and I had a pentagon carved into my palm.
Yeah.
So that could mean the pentagon was already there. Pentagram, sorry. Pentagon is just a
Pentagon
shape.
would be pretty
Yeah, that's a different
benign.
thing.
That's more benign, but still weird, right? If you had a pentagon
weird.
carved into your
I mean,
into
I
your
have an
hand.
irrational fear of shapes, so
Right.
So that'd be
If
bad
you have
for you.
anything carved into your palm, that's strange. But I will
Yeah.
concede that a pentagram is more concerning than a pentagon.
And we also do concede based on the construction of the sentence. We don't know if the pentagram is related to or even happened during the handshake.
Right, it
with
could have
him,
been
which
there
is-
already. But the implication is that after shaking the hand, the pentagram was there. So,
Pentagon could have been involved too. Who knows?
That could have been part of the.
I don't trust the military-industrial complex.
The books, emerging. We could pull up that picture again. Do you have that picture on hand? The Jewish folklore demon that I was speaking of. The Bruxa. The Bruxa.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of this related to Satan, and it could be related to pentagram being seared in. Also, if anybody owns goats, and has like been in a close vicinity of JLD like to their goats, your goat's milk was probably depleted.
That explains it.
Yeah.
and now we are having some questions from the chat. User LaserKid2009 is asking, how many orbs are in your safe?
How many orbs?
Yes.
Have you?
Oh.
Do you have a
great
safe
question.
full of orbs?
Yeah, I do with the magnetic field, so it keeps the chaos energy in.
And how many orbs are in there?
I don't know if I can put a number on it. I have all of Alan Alda's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's cleaned out now. Last time I saw him, he was like a withered old potato sack doing a podcast or something.
Is Alan Alda also a monster?
Is he a monster as well?
Or would
I
he-
haven't confirmed.
Okay.
He seemed pretty confused when I was taking all of them. Seemed to be more concerned about his merits in, the performances he put on. But yeah, I can't confirm if he knows even what they are.
Do you have any of Allison Janney's?
I have one of Allison's. It's hard. It's like they keep it locked up in a safe.
Right.
So I've cracked a few safes, but yeah, it's tough.
Can you use any of them to kill monsters? Any
Great
chance?
question. You can really only harness the chaos if you have a demon inside of you.
What about a personal demon?
A personal demon?
Yeah, like alcoholism.
Like an assistant demon, like a demon that it like schedules your meetings for you.
Sure.
Maybe.
Okay.
And user Sparky Sparkles is asking, how do I protect myself from JLD in the future?
Great question. Yeah. So people are scared. People are worried. Of course, if she gets her hands on a ninth orb, there's no protecting. The Earth's gonna get ripped open like an orange, and hot magma is gonna be spewing out. So I think for right now, anything that you can do to stop past episodes of Seinfeld. Who knows if that could like randomly get another orb of chaos at some time? They might change it. Like, you know, those shows are getting pretty stale. They might have to like, you know, jump through some more hoops to get more viewers involved. Bring back some old shows. Be like, oh, these are in the ring now. And yeah, wear a lot of garlic.
And speaking of old shows, user Lilo and Stitch is asking, I heard JLD, what, I can't read it.
I heard JLD was taught about the chaos, orbs from Larry David on set during Seinfeld filming. And also carrying the demonic ID in name. I'm not sure.
The LD.
Oh, yes, because
is in
Larry
both Larry
David.
Davis
Oh, I see. So they. Okay.
and JLD.
So I think they're insinuating that
LD is
Larry
a cursed
David.
pairing of letters.
You guys are already connecting the yarn without even getting too deep into it. You know, it's like the pieces are right here. Larry David is also a Bruxa. He's also a demon. And the LD, that's also a signifier.
Crazy.
Lee Daniels.
Laserdisc.
What?
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Bruxa.
Wow.
How do I
Oh.
protect my goats from
That is
JLD?
very crazy.
How do I protect my goats from JLD? Because I want to keep all the milk for myself.
I mean, you could just like cork them. Cork
Okay.
them up. JLD is hard with, you know.
Fine motor
She
skills.
doesn't carry around like a wine opener or anything. It'd be hard to get a cork out of those goat nipples.
So would you say that the onus for protecting the rest of the world is on television producers and developers to not make any prestige television for Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
I mean, you could say that, but I think they're all in on it.
Oh
I
wow!
didn't
So
even
you're
think
saying
of
that
that.
all of Hollywood is in on this, and this is going to a question from user Ground Beans, who is asking, who else is in the cabal?
Oh yeah, is Kramer, is Jerry himself,
Kramer's actually a really good guy.
perhaps Newman?
What?
Wait, are you saying Kramer's a character, or Kramer's the man who used the N-word profusely in the comedy bit? Is he a good man?
Some, like, he has a patchy, past, but like he's fighting for the good side.
What is that guy's name again? Michael something?
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards, yeah. He really used that N-word.
He actually
He
went.
really
to my
went
high
for it.
school.
A real Hulk Hogan, if you will.
Kramer's a character, though. He's funny. When he would open
Bursting
the door,
in.
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that. That was good.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Most of the industry is wrapped up in the promise that they'll get a lot of these Hawaiis around, and they want to really party it up on Island Time during Mai Tais.
But okay, so they want to party it up on Island Time, knowing that it will only last briefly.
They don't know that.
Oh, so they're kept in the
JLD's going
dark.
in saying like, hey, I have a way to make a bunch of Hawaiis.
But she's not telling them the whole story. Wow,
That
this is
magma's not gonna
crazy.
stop coming. And when it does,
The floor is
all the
lava.
water will drain, and then we'll have to drink alcohol for at least 5 weeks. And then after that, God only knows, we'll probably die of like a headache or something.
And here's an interesting question from user Di Selvin, who is asking, what I want to know is if you saw Shrek's dong, and is it longer than Frankenstein's? So
Great
is
question.
Shrek's dong longer than Frankenstein's? Great question. Thank you, Di Selvin.
Yeah, I mean Frank has a big dong. It was kind of weirdly lit for Shrek's, but I mean I'd say that I have a bigger penis than Shrek does, if that helps.
And that is helpful for me, and I'll also say that I know Frank because I'm a half monster, and we actually belong to the same gym. And so Frank and I are seeing each other's penises quite frequently, and he's making comments about my penis, who's looking like a sandworm from Star Wars, and his penis is very large, and so I don't doubt what you're saying.
And your penis is trying to like sniff around.
It's
his.
sniffing around, and it's looking for greens and Chobani yogurt.
Yeah, and he's a green dude, so that's probably dangerous when
Confusing.
he's like swinging that swinging that stuff around, and you know you got your thing. You're looking for roughage.
That's right.
Some unintentional sounding going on.
Yeah.
And so there's another point in the chat from user Fever Woman who is saying the Jewish Defense League, JDL, is a Jewish far-right religious political organization in the United States whose stated goal is to protect the Jews from anti-Semitism at whatever means necessary. And so that is, that's another point.
Yes, and Jupiter Ninja 95 is kind of jumping off that and asking if we can clarify that this is not a Jewish thing.
Yes, it seems that many of these Jews are involved in this chaos or cabal, and so can we clarify if that has anything to do with
address
Yeah,
anything?
let's
that?
not pull a Michael Richards here.
Yeah. So actually, the JDL is actually an organization that is using their acronym to weaken JLD's powers. When you misorganize the letters,
Oh.
it's like saying he who must not be named instead of saying Voldemort.
Right. So
Right.
they're actually
So JDL is like
Heroes.
is almost like a superhero group. Like if you think of like a Suicide Squad or a Marvel, but with like older Jewish men.
Right, so the Jewish Defense League is sort of like a suicide squad. That's what you're saying? Right,
But like
yeah.
good guys, not like the bad guys that they're rounding up.
so more
Right.
like the Avengers or the Justice League.
Like the Avengers, but a bunch of older Jewish men.
The Jewish
And to be clear,
Justice
there's no
Defense League.
real connection between the Jews and the monsters and the Chaos Orbs. These are just sort of coincidences of naming.
I think the Jews were the first to discover the Broksa. That's how it was brought up.
so that's why they
into-
know
That was
so
brought
much.
up into their folklore, the Jewish folklore.
Ah,
That's
and
why-
this is where the connections are coming together.
Yeah, the actually Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Larry David are actually not Jewish because they're demons.
Great
So
point.
they're posing as Jewish people and
Is
using
Julia?
that.
Is she, she looks, well, I shouldn't say that, but she seems Jewish.
According to her Wikipedia, her father came from a Jewish family, but
Yeah.
her mother is not Jewish.
That's true, I
But
guess.
that's all hearsay because she's a Broksa, a demon.
All right. So
So I feel like we're tiptoeing around some very shaky issues here, walking on eggshells a bit. But I can appreciate what you're saying about the dangers of these orbs. And we had a question earlier about the orbs. I forget exactly who. Here it is. LaserKid 2009 earlier asked, does the power magnify when the orbs are close together? And when you add a new orb to the safe, do you have to open the safe and add another orb? Would the power turn you to dust?
Excellent question. So great. So yes, to clarify the first part, yes, when they get closer, their power intensifies, and the wideness, I guess, of this sphere of energy expands. So when I open my safe, it's magnetized. So that's why kind of what like polarizes it and keeps the energies in. So when I go in, I have to wear this big magnet. If you've ever seen like Looney Tunes or anything like that, like the big like red with like the silver tips at the end. Like I'm going in like this. I usually have it like wrapped around me because I keep a lot of ropes around because I usually have to tie it to a rock if I want to lap up, you know, the water. But I tie the magnet to me and I walk up. So if like the safe's like, say these are the orbs,
those are
and
the
I'm
orbs.
like, I have to strap it on over here because there's a little bit more room. I got a lot of like shelves and stuff over here, so I can't put the magnet, but I put it on. And sometimes it gets stuck and you gotta you do the combo. And then you open it. And then you just point the magnet in. And I take the new orb. And I take the magnet off. And then I'll probably like, you know, make a gin and tonic or something.
Great, and that was very informative and interesting for us.
Great.
And so we have a few more questions, but it's almost time for the questions to be over. So I'll ask a few questions here from the chat. I'll throw a few out at once, and you can answer the ones that you feel ready to answer.
Sort of a lightning
Yeah,
round.
lightning round, if you will. So, from user Die Selvin, this guy is a renowned photographer, but how can we trust him? His theories on orbs of chaos. And a follow-up question from Fever Woman: can the orbs be stacked?
Both great questions. How can you trust me? I mean, I've shown you my certificate.
That is true.
From the the U.S. Army, which I know can't trust them, but they're powerful. So it's like if they wouldn't trust me with something, then maybe you shouldn't trust me with something else. Also, if you ever want to come over and kick back and get faded, I could strap a magnet on you and you could just like walk up and take a peek. But yeah, I can't accommodate everyone because I live in a studio apartment. So just like one at a time, maybe two actually. Two people could come. And are they stackable? No, they're not stackable. Yeah.
And is it true that they come in many shapes and sizes, or is it just the one sort of
The
statue?
orbs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it comes in all shapes and sizes. There's different types of orbs. There's like orbs of sloth, which are like ones that they have at those events that are like both TV and film. They look kind of like even more of an orby than the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the orbs of Poontang, which are the ones that look like little guys.
Okay.
And so not really orb shapes, that one.
No.
And
Those are like sex
Special.
energies,
Oh.
libidos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, orb is just like a catch-all term for anything that is dangerous and used by actors to rule the world.
Well, if you had like the right glasses or goggles to view the energies around them, all of them would be orbs.
Okay.
But they're more totems that hold the energies that are circles and are orbic.
great, and I think that's very
I think
good.
that's great.
That was a great place to end it.